Good evening.
All right, Larry. I heard they made a Siyum on the top of Mount Everest. I was gonna ask Larry when he gets back whether that was his group or some other group.
They made what? They made what?
They made a Siyum on one of the mountains of Everest next to Astronaut on the Mount
Wow,
Everest.
wow, wow. No, no, he it was not his group. I'll tell you why, because he told me that they flew over the Everest. But it's
Yeah.
interesting, you know.
Yeah, no, I heard it today on one of the classes I was listening to.
Salim, there are two aspects when you hear a story like this. It's really amazing, you know. Oh, we're pushing, we are pushing, you know, normally in the everything in Judaism was always done in a very quiet. Today, everything has to be publicized.
Yeah, I found it right now. I Googled it. It's a group of 25 Jews with Rabbi Moshe Elberg. I'm not sure who that is, but they did the Siyum on top of Mount Everest.
Okay. I'm sure soon we'll have a nice video about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Looking at it now, it's on. It's crazy.
I'll give you an example. Rabbi Baruch Mordechai Ezrachi, was a באמת big Talmid Chacham, but he had the leadership qualities. So for years and years in the summer, he used to take kids from high schools for summer camps, but the main idea is he was a big inspirational speaker. So he used to take them for long walks in the Galilee mountains, and he used to stop in the middle. Rabotai, look around. This forest never heard the Dvar Torah from Sheshet Yemei Bereshit. Today, we are going to learn Torah in this place. I mean, you can be sure that this is the first time that on top of Mount Everest, yes, someone heard the Dvar Hashem, which is very, very nice, yes. See, if the point, which you have to assume that it is, it's not only for the publicity.
Issue is I don't know how you're allowed to climb as a Jew with Mount Everest given the risks involved. I'm not sure you're allowed to put yourself.
Chacham Baji, you don't think that they really climbed from the beginning to the top.
No, no, there's no. I mean, unless they helicoptered up, even I don't know. I'm not
Helicopter, I
sure.
mean,
I'm
most
not sure.
people that go to the Everest are not climbing. You have transportation most of the way, and towards the end, you walked, the last 10 feet, you reach it.
No, supposedly it's like almost impossible terrains, and they have to go up. And there's this special group of people that live there that risk their lives. They carry their mule. They're like almost like mules, human mules. They carry all the stuff gear that you need to survive. I mean, outside of a helicopter, I'm not sure how you get up there.
Let's wait till the video, then you'll read few articles in few magazines, then you'll have the pictures and
Where are you going, Salim?
I was telling the rabbi I heard a story today that they did a siyum on the top of Mount Everest. I wanted to see if it was Larry and the group he went with, but I
No,
googled it.
yeah,
It's not. It's some other
no,
rabbi.
it's not.
no, no, he's also not this type of a person. So
Rabbi, this morning you were teaching about, people's medicine and the Ramban. So I'm just thinking, you talk about people going to the doctor, but I have most of my doctors tell me that I'm very unique. Why? 90% of the people don't follow the instructions anyway when they go to the doctor. They said it. I mean, Verush, people do not, they go there, they get the medicine, they do, but they don't follow the instructions. Uh,
see what
90% sounds high. Sounds high.
I'm telling you, you cannot believe it.
no,
Like,
no, he didn't mean they don't follow any, but they don't follow
right.
everything. The
let-
idea is, I mean, I'm telling you, this is very famous, is very, very famous. That Rabbi Kamenetsky was told by the doctor that he has to lose a
yes,
couple
you
of
told me.
pounds, and he gave him a diet, and he says, "Come to me back in 2 months." Comes back after 2 months, and he puts him on the scale. He says, "Rabbi, something is wrong here." He says, "What's wrong?" He says, "You lost too much weight." You mean I lost too much? I followed exactly what you told me. And the doctor started to laugh. He says, when we give a person a diet for 2 months, we assume that twice a week you cheat, sometimes 3 times. He says he never cheated until 2 months. Of course, he lost 20%, 25% more. But you see, the trick is to realize this is be'emet, be'emet. I'm saying it to myself, but it's to everyone. The ראש ישיבה עזתה, רבי סוחר מאיר, היה תלמיד חכם גדול מאוד מאוד מאוד. He had unfortunately had diabetes B from a young age, which means he died in the 80s, but all his life he was,
Insulin.
yeah, but not diabetes B. Sometimes he used to faint in the middle of the class. I mean, but the students knew him. Anyway, there was a young man in the Yeshiva in Yerushalayim, when you discover it at a young age, it's very, very devastating, yes. Because suddenly you realize that your regular lifestyle is no more. And the kid was depressed, and Bekitzu, they brought him to this Rabbi Meir. They asked him, "Listen, I know exactly the challenges you have, but let me tell you something unique me and you have." Listen good what he told him. Every teenager, every human being, let's use myself now here. Tomorrow morning, Shachrit Zion, getting my coffee after Shachrit. Now I have to choose. Is it a cheesecake, or it's a white cupcake, or it's a brownie cupcake? Should I take a sandwich with cheese? I mean, okay, 99% I don't touch it. He says it. The ones who like it, they take, maaser mikol, you taste everything. He says, for me, every time I see a cake and I don't touch it, I have a mitzvah min haTorah v'nishmartem benafshetechem. How many people in life do you have that in every piece of food that they see, it's not a bracha, which is the Rabbanan, it's a mitzvah min haTorah, it's you and me. Whatever you don't eat because you're not supposed to, you have a mitzvah deoraita mamash, the same as not eating non-kosher, yes? And if you eat the right food, besides making a bracha, which is a mitzvah mid'Rabbanan, you have a mitzvah mid'oraita, v'nishmartem lenafshotechem. The kid said later in his life, this changed his outlook on his situation. I had a kid that came to me in the beginning of sophomore year, the first day of school, he's a sophomore. How was your summer? I see on his face wasn't good. So what happened to you? What? Says, well, doctors discovered I have diabetes B. B is so. I said, what do you mean so? I can't go out for pizza anymore. I cannot go to ice cream. Yes. I told them there is a junior girl that in my class, in the middle, used to take out. Talk to her. She'll teach you how to. Rabbi, it's over. Yeah, boy. Did you talk to any of your friends? You hear? No, no one knows. Why? For him, life is over. Took weeks and weeks and weeks to convince him to talk about it. When you talk about it, obviously you show that it's not such a big problem. No, finally, it took a long time. Then his senior year, on a seminar, he spoke publicly. He says when he decided to accept this is what I have to learn how to live. He says this changes outlook of life. But this is the point, Jeffrey. Look, Jeffrey is Baruch Hashem keeping everything. But be'emet, it's the same about me and you, yes? We develop habits of eating, and it's very, very. Eddie Madafa, you mean, old man, says to me, herring is my life. The European guy from Europe. For me, when I see a herring, but he had a high blood pressure, high salty food.
What?
For me, it's not a challenge, but everyone,
24,
well, what?
24 flavors. There's 24 flavors of
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
it.
Right. I know, but this is the point. No, but remember what Rabbi Yisachar Meir is saying is something very deep, yeah? There is so much food, there is so much, if a person trains himself to say no for this, no for that, he's building an inner strength in himself to,
You have to be on a China diet, Rabbi. When I used to go to China, I used to lose like 15, 20 pounds. I couldn't eat
really.
anything. Yeah, there's nothing to eat.
That
No,
just
but
tells you it's all food.
fruits and
Whole thing.
vegetables, no?
Yeah, that's it. Fruits and vegetables. So you're on fruits and vegetables for 2 weeks. You lose a lot of weight, Rabbi.
Yeah.
What, you don't bring anything with you?
Yeah, but at the end, you just throw it out. It's not worth it. Or they confiscate it. Either or.
We're going to speak about the very famous machloket, and this affects every 7 years, even today, many farmers. It says in the Torah that all your produce on the seventh year becomes hefker, which means that theoretically speaking, I'm driving on the highway between Yerushalayim and Tel Aviv, I see a beautiful vineyard, nice clusters of grapes, I can just go in and take it. Can I? Is it automatically hefker, or only the owner is making it hefker and he gives me permission? This, more or less, is a tremendous machloket between Maran. Maran, the Shulchan Aruch, he wrote a sefer that most people are unaware, because we know Maran, Shulchan Aruch, Bet Yosef, but well, basically the question is, the Torah says to me, but remember that Baruch Hashem, every 7 years you have more and more thousands of people. You do understand if you read the Chumash as it's written, yes? That every Shemitah that the Jewish people did not keep, they were expelled from 70 years out of the country before the second temple was built. For 70 Shemitah they did not keep. It's a challenge, definitely a challenge. But the Torah says this is the mitzvah. Okay, so in the early 1900s, when it was very difficult for farmers, some of the great rabbis at that time came up with an idea that if you sell the land to a Gentile, some of the avodah in your field can be done by goyim. This was at that time, then 7 years later. But today's day and age, it's still a very big challenge, and the chief rabbanut still sells the land, at least to save some of the Jews from some averot. Okay, so Chacham Ovadia himself is relying on it. Remember, we're talking, if you do that, you help some non-religious people who don't keep anything, at least, or whatever. I'm asking you, if you come to Saudi Arabia together with Bahrain, together with Iran, would they buy the land of Israel? Give them any price you want, they'll pay for it, yes? So here it is, every 7 years there is an Arab, has a contract. It says that all the land of the state of Israel belongs to him. Therefore, whoever walks there walks in the land of a goy. So one of the arguments is, wait, Miko, which price would you put on the land of Israel? Price. Last time was 650 billion.
No, there's no price. There's no way.
Today it's a
It's
joke.
called priceless.
Priceless. No.
No,
But you have
that's
to, you have to
this is,
value it. It would be,
no. This is for me and you. It's priceless,
Right,
very
right.
nice. But when you sell, it's an official document. When Salim sold his chametz, so you go to Chacham Yaakov, twice before Chacham Yaakov was elected. After Rabbi left to call Israel, I was there, the rabbi. I went to sell the chametz of Sharet Zion, hundreds of millions of dollars of chametz, because many people have huge warehouses, yes, supermarkets. So what do? You have a very nice guy sitting there and he shakes his hand because he does it every year. And you have 25 rabbis. Each one gives him. Now, this is Jeffrey, if you remember many, many years ago, I showed Jeffrey the document. It's a legal document. Every American court will recognize the document. It what? That Mr. Salim Banbaji and Erev Pesach sold his chametz. Salim Banbaji has a huge warehouse with chametz. He sold it for whatever the price, let's make up a price, now $2 million, fine. The guy gets the paper, he gets the contract, Salim's contract. Rabbi Prague is the Sharia. The guy puts down payment. The contract says, in 8 days, you, the guy, don't come up with $2 million for this, you have to sell it back. Not retroactively, the sale is not a sale. Because if retroactively the sale is not a sale, Salim Banbaji never sold his chametz. Sale is a sale, but theoretically speaking, there's nothing wrong with it. No, behemet, it's not. Because we assume why in the world would the guy try to buy Salim Banbaji's warehouse. But if every 7 years the chief rabbinate of Israel is selling the land of Israel, yes, and many people who are willing to buy it at any given price, yes. This is why one of the small arguments against the sale. Okay, so of course, when Chacham Ovadia writes about it, he's addressing it, but you have to realize how it says ve'aretz lo timacher, yes. Remember, here we do sell, but we know that they wouldn't come up with the money.
But you don't have to. You don't have to. You just could leave it foul. You don't really have to sell the land, Rabbi.
If we don't sell the land, no one can walk on the land.
Right. I accept the point.
60% of Israeli agriculture is you have to walk in the land. All the non-religious communities, people walk on the land. So in order to save them, or to minimize the Aveira of eating the fruit and etc., we sell it on their behalf. I'm just using it as an example.
Gotcha.
Besides selling the land, which is a green light to walk in the field, there's another halacha. The halacha is you have to make your land hefker. If you are able to be in Israel and Shemitah, you'll see huge vineyards, huge orchards, huge signs, hefker, anyone can walk in. It's a big problem always with etrogim because people, fine, but I'm talking about sincerely religious, not to make believe, okay? But of course, they're being assisted with many Jews around the world. Says, so listen to this. The Mabit and the Bet Yosef have a big machloket, and the machloket is, in a minute you'll see how important it is. When I grew up on the Shana Shevi'it, most of the fruits and vegetables in the religious community, in the real religious, was what they purchased from the Arabim. So let's see what happened. Do you think the Arab makes it hefker? Do I have to take maaser from it or not? So listen to this. The Mabit, one of the greatest Sfaradim before Maran, says, if you buy perot of Goyim, you don't have to give maaser even on the 7th year. It says because automatically the land of Israel is kadosh on the 7th. It says here, right? Shabbat, it's like Shabbat. The fact that Arabs own many farms, so what? the Torah says if I buy from them, automatically it's kadosh. If it's kadosh, there's no need to give trumot to Maasrot. Times the Bet Yosef, he wrote Sefer Shalot Utshuvot called Avkat Rochel. Avkat Rochel, like Rochel is a peddler. He looks at himself as a peddler. I'm giving some small pieces I'm selling. He strongly disagrees. He says it's patur for maaser, not because the Arab, because his land is kadosh. He said the Torah says it's hefker. I don't care if the goy gives me permission or not, but theoretically speaking, says the Bet Yosef, and the 7th year, if you, okay, today it's a sakana anyway, but in the 80s, 90s, you can go into a vineyard of an Arab on the way to Hebron and pick up grapes. If you do it tomorrow, you are a thief. Shulchan Aruch says to steal from Arabs is asur. But in the 7th year, so the Bet Yosef automatically, so the nafkamina is when we, the religious community, is buying. Today they don't buy anymore for 2 reasons. The Arabs realize that they make so much money on it, they used to buy from non-religious kibbutzim and claim it's ours, you understand? How do you know when you buy 10 cases of grapes, if it grew in his vineyard or a fellow from a kibbutz delivered it last night? Okay, they still buy some, but you need tremendous supervision, and supervision is costing a lot of money. So, if you go to Israel in the 7th year, Baruch Hashem, more and more hotels, not for religious purposes, but for business purposes, are trying to do it right. For instance, when Arik Sharon, Rabbi Shalom, was the Minister of Agriculture, he understood that it's his job to provide a large amount. So he used to bring tons and tons of potatoes, fruits and vegetables from Holland, from other places. This way, you have no problem with Shemitah. It's really saved. Otherwise, families with many kids have a problem. But think for a minute how the real biblical Jewish land looked in the past. It was a challenge. No one should ever paint it as a rosy picture. People, as always, some people used to cheat, some people used to disobey, but the ideal Jewish state is that every 7 years, all the farmers are going to the kollel in the morning, and in the afternoon they do chesed, you understand? So what are they doing today? Today, a year before Shemitah, they buy a lot of cattle, they buy a lot of cows. So they sell the milk, or they have extra income, and they have huge today. You have a lot of money. In America, they collect millions of dollars to assist them relatively. So here is this I'm reading you now from the Rambam. So if you have access to the Rambam, Sarim go, Rambam Sefer Zraim, פרק ד' בהלכות שמיטה ויובל, הלכה כ"ד. If we have it, listen to the Rambam. מצוות עשה, רמב"ם says, להשמיט כל מה שתוציא השדה בשביעית. You, the farmer, should stand and declare, whatever my produce, my land is growing, הפקר, שנאמר, we are going to read it tomorrow morning. והשביעית, תשמטנה ונטשתה. Listen good what he says now. בכל הנועל כרמו, if you keep the chain on the door on the gate to your vineyard, or sag Sadeu Bishvit, or you are not opening the gates or field, Bitel Mitzvah Aseh. You hear? How come the Rambam doesn't say, V'chol mi shelo hifkir? The Rambam says, only if I lack. The Rambam should say, if you did not declare, this is ifkir. We see from the Rambam, even if you didn't say it, it's ifkir anyway, because Hashem made it ifkir. But you, the farmer, over the Isur, this is the Raya of the Chazon Ish. You, the farmer, over the Isur, if you are keeping the locks and the doors. This is how the Rambam continues. וכן, אם אסף כל פירותיו לתוך ביתו. If you are a wise guy, you hired few workers, you harvested all the grapes, you finished, you bring it to your basement. Says the Rambam, no, אלא יפקיר הכל, you have to declare and leave the gates open, ויד הכל שווים. You have the right to take some grapes, but not quantities that you normally bring in to make profit. שנאמר, ואכלו אביוני עמך. ויש לו להביא מעט לתוך ביתו. The Rambam is giving a number that the Gemara gives, but every farmer, 5 כדי שמן, 5 jugs of olive oil, and 15 of wine. So again, anything you take is for your own usage. If you take it to make business, asur. Now, if I took 30 cases of grapes, but I'm going to my neighbor and I say, listen, you have a lot of tomatoes, I need tomatoes. These tomatoes are also Shavit. I have to tell him, these grapes are Kadosh B'Kedushat Shavit. We are exchanging it. It's not considered I'm making profit because I'm buying food. But if I'm making profit of what I sold him, they assume in Torah. I mean, it's easy to read the rules because we're not farmers, but think on society that the basic parnasah is Shavit. It's a very, very big challenge. Very big challenge. Okay, so today, anyway, Israel imports a lot of grain, a lot of... So they try, or the religious community is trying. But again, if you are relying on the so-called heter mechira, the collective sale of the land, so it's easier. You don't have to... But if you read carefully, the term mechira is certain type of jobs in your farm can be done, yes, by goyim or Jews, but not everything. But it's like, like the Gemara says in Masechet Yoma, hakal hakal. If a person has to eat non-kosher, we are trying to give him kal hakal. For instance, the Gemara says, if you have a choice between giving him non-kosher meat or to give him peirot of Israel, that Truma u'maaser, this is a good example. Non-kosher meat or fruits and vegetables that Truma u'maaser was not taken. The punishment of non-kosher meat is 39 lashes, it's a lot aseh. If you eat fruits and vegetables that Truma u'maaser was not taken, it's a mitah b'dei shamayim. You're better off giving him but more and more, even in the so-called more modern religious Israelis start to understand that if today we live in times that relatively we have more money, we have more access to bring in from other countries. More and more people are. Many, many years ago, I wouldn't tell you the name, someone in the community that Be'emet wanted to do Mitzvah Yishuv Eretz Israel, he purchased, not for free, he purchased a huge vineyard of olive trees to be Mekayem, Pe'ah, Truma, Maaser. But obviously, he has farmers doing it for him. So after Shemitah, he gave me a very nice metal jar of real, pure olive oil. So I told him, did you use the Termechira? He says, yes, everyone in that community. So I thanked him very much, but I gave it as a gift to a friend of mine who told me, that it was not kosher, but this is not, during Shemitah, you have to know which hotels. Now remember, in the real year of the real Shemitah, then you have to forgive all the money that people owe you. Very difficult, yeah? If you have a bill in your grocery store, this is not included, yes? We're talking about money that you lended to someone, halva'ah. If you took produce and you owe him money, this is not a chov, like, I don't lend you money, yes? If I sold you items, you have to pay me for the items, yes? Okay, so today again, we do Perus Bul. Very often the halachic leniencies that the halacha created to help big business people sometimes fires back because not everyone understands exactly how it works. When you lend money, large amount of money, all the Israeli banks, so you have a Terry Sky. Jeffrey, you remember about 30 years ago, maybe 25 years, we went through the book of Rabbi Herschler. We understood perfectly how it works. But basically, it goes like this.
The banks still do it.
Of course, the banks do it.
Yeah, IDB does it.
Right. But
Bank
basically,
Apple.
basically, it works like this. The bank says to me, we are lending you $1 million. Why do you need it? We're investing it in a new shopping mall. We, the bank, are becoming partners with you on your investment. And normally, if you invest and I'm your partner, you have to give me every month X amount of profit. The bank says we're not going to ask you every month what your profit is. Just give us every month 2%. And now, in the contract, it says like this. Half is a full loan, and half is like we are depositing the money by you. You can do whatever you want. Now, what happens if the guy proves beyond a doubt that the investment went bankrupt? He lost all the money. If you read carefully the contract, you have to pay the bank only half. Now, of course, there's no bank in the world that will ever lend you money like that. So the banks do something very clever. What they write is, we are becoming partners not only in your current $1 million investment, in all the investments that you have. Good, so this is good for Salim Bambaji, but Rabbi Prak doesn't have any investments. So Be'emet, if I would borrow $500,000 to furnish my house, the bank cannot say we have a lien on your, I have no investments. So if you read carefully all the details, But again, why was this Heter Iska done, which is basically a partnership between the bank and you? Is again, otherwise you cannot function. The market needs people lending and borrowing. And what happens? Someone really wants to, has a very nice house, but is taking a loan of $2 million only to make it fancy, to have a tennis court, to have a swimming pool, to have this, that. Be'emet, the original Heter Iska was not made for that. The original Heter Iska was made. People need money to do business. After the contract is there, people are not abusing, but people are using it for whatever they need. But the original idea was to help people borrow money, use it, and return it. But there's always so Shemitat Ksafim is noheg today also, but this is the end of the year. See, if you remember, every time we have a Shemitah, Erev Rosh Hashanah, everyone signs a Heter Iska. What is Heter? I'm sorry, not Heter Iska, is Puzbul. What is the Puzbul? The rabbis are giving you, right? You are saying to the 3 rabbis, I'm giving you the money, you can collect, I'm not collecting it, and you have the signature of the rabbis. Again, it was done only because today it's only midrabanan. If this would be midoraita, the Safot say Puzbul would not help us. So again, today somehow people look on all these halachic leniencies as we are bypassing the halacha. We're not bypassing. It's legal. People are abusing it as if it's like the same as by Pesach. If the sale is not a good sale, so our chametz is asur. We assume that sale is a sale. The same is exactly by Shvi'i. The same exactly is for all the years in Chutz La'aretz. If you are a farmer and your cow is pregnant for the first time, if she gives birth to a male, it's a bechor. What do you do with it? So they used to take a partner, a goy. When she gives birth, it's a partnership between a goy and a Jew. But today in Israel, they're not doing it anymore because today we have veterinarians. They are putting the hand into the stomach of the pregnant cow, and the veterinarian that does it makes a tiny hole in the ear of the unborn calf. This way he's born with a mum. Born with a mum, then you can slaughter it and eat it regularly. But you have to shuvot written. They forgot to do it. What do you do? There's nothing you can do. Every bechor, it's kadosh. You cannot use the milk. You cannot shear it. You cannot walk with it. You have to hope that by running he would injure himself, and then it's a blemish. Then you can slaughter him. Ezrat Hashem, tomorrow night we'll learn parasha. It's a double parasha. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you,
Good
Rabbi.
night. Good night, everyone.
Baruch.
Hi, Rabbi.
Love you, Emma.